Okay, let's raise the big questions then tonight. Which agenda for the youth dominates? The Congress's Rojgar pitch, will it now have any impact? Is a youth voter now key in 2024? Is the Modi factor, on the other hand, still dominant? Is employment or unemployment a key issue in the battle for 2024? I'm joined by Shankar Iyer, political economy analyst and author. Joining me now also Tuhin Sinha, the BJP's national spokesperson, and JB Mathur, the Congress's member of parliament. I appreciate all of you joining me here on the show tonight. Let me come to you, JB Mathur, first, because the Congress today is making this big pitch, saying that we are going to provide jobs to all, we are going to have a right to apprenticeship, 30 lakh government jobs will be made available to the youth. You're talking about the gig economy being given social security. There will be those who will say, look, the Congress party had a long time in power. A lot of this could have been implemented when you were in power, either in the center or states. Rajasthan, one of your states, had one of the worst unemployment rates in the country. So how does the Congress have the, how do we trust the Congress that you will act on these promises?
Rajdeep, before I start, let me first appraise you that I am on a hunger strike for the past 5 days, and whatever inconvenience caused in that regard about the ambience, please bear with me, because I am in the front of Secretariat of Kerala along with Youth President and NSUI Kerala President, and me being Mahila Congress President.
Yes, you are protesting against the left government. JB Mathur, I'm glad you mentioned that. Ma'am, you are protesting against the left government, which is your ally.
No, definitely we are protesting because this is again a murder of a veterinary college student, a brutal murder, and we are asking a CBI probe into it. Anyway, now let me get to your question that regarding how the Congress can be trusted and about the plan rolled out by Congress. See, we have a clear plan, and that plan is what is being rolled out today for the youth. And why did we roll out this plan? Because past 10 years, there's acute unemployment crisis in the country. And if you look at it, we are at a 45-year unemployment high. Nobody can deny that. Now I just heard Prime Minister's version that that what I promised, I'm going to, uske liye hard work kar rahe hai. Kya mehnat kar rahe hai? If he was hard working, how would the unemployment become a 45-year-old high? So the hard fact is, we have an issue. That issue is we have unemployment crisis. And when there is unemployment crisis, what's the plan? Now the present government, if they had a plan, they should have implemented it in the 5-10 years they are in government, which they didn't do. They miserably failed in all their efforts. That is why we have the unemployment crisis. Now, what are we saying? What is Congress saying? And who are we saying? We are the ones who have always taken the rights-based approach when UPA government was there. We have witnessed country being given with Right to Information Act, right to employment through Narega, which was criticized by BJP that time, but they had to continue it, although they took steps to cut down the budget. That's a different story. But in any case, whether it's right to employment, whether it's right to information, whether it is food security, we have always taken a rights-based
I must ask
approach.
you, ma'am, but I ask you, ma'am, one of the highest unemployment rates was in Rajasthan when you had a government there. I only am going to go by the numbers, and I'm going to, in a moment, compare the UPA era with the NDA era. So I'll come to that graphic in a moment. But I ask you this. There will be those who will say that many of these promises, you could have had a model state. You could have built Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, any state as a model state. Why didn't you do it then?
We have already brought in Karnataka and also in Telangana for accidental insurance and for youth Arogya schemes, and also in Rajasthan in 2023. But the fact remains that when we were in union government, we have actually proved and shown that the rural unemployment, there's a big step. Now, can the government show anything to their credit?
I'll ask my producer to pull up those graphics comparing NDA and UPA in a moment. But Tuhin Sinha, you deserve a response before that to what JB Mathur said. She says the Congress has proven its track record with Manrega, a scheme which Narendra Modi, when he was in the opposition, was a Gujarat Chief Minister, mocked at. He questioned Manrega, saying you're doling out money to people. Today, Manrega is a critical part of the government's policy initiatives towards the rural poor. So, how does the BJP now combat when the Congress talks of a Rojgar to all, that they will create a right to apprenticeship?
Good evening, Rajdeep. Good evening, everybody. Even before I come to specific data, let me say this with all responsibility, that there is a fundamental and a paradigm difference between the way we view our youth and between the way the Congress views the youth. For the first time in our country, we have been talking of a vision for the next 20, 25 years, where the youth of this country will be at the core of executing that vision. Today, India has approximately 1.95 crore first-time voters out of 97 crores, which means approximately 2%. And these people are going to be at the core of executing our Viksit Bharat plans. So taking them into account, while we are setting the agenda for an aspirational society, just look at, our investments in sports, just look at our investments in the space technology. In fact, right now, 1 hour ago, we have, the cabinet has introduced an AI policy worth 10,000 crores worth of investment. What is the Congress doing on the other hand? Dividing people on the basis of caste by asking people that aapka naam Shiv Prasad hai, to aap taraqi nahi karoge. So that's point number one. There is a fundamental difference. Now let me come to some data. The unemployment rate is at its 4-year low as substantiated by a comprehensive SBI report. It is at 3.2%. If you look at the regular ESIC data, which talks about enrollment into, government enrollment, as per the last December data, there was an 18% increase for that month alone. Mm-hmm. So there was 18 lakh new people added to the workforce. Thirdly, when you have a capex expenditure of 11 lakh crore per year, that simply cannot be jobless growth. But yes, the nature of employment today has changed. Gig economy is bigger in chunk than ever before, which somehow the Congress party is unable to comprehend. So I think, all of these factors taken into
the problem with numbers and data is you can cherry pick from whichever institution you get those numbers and claim that we brought unemployment down. But Shankar Iyer, give us a more objective perspective of unemployment. Is this a pitch which can work in today's India? The Congress claiming that they'll bring a Rojgar revolution. The BJP saying we are bringing a Viksit Bharat. Do you believe that the unemployment situation actually on the ground is just too complicated and political parties, there are no quick fix solutions? All that many parties want, like in Maharashtra, is reservations, back to reservations, more and more reservation.
Well, there is data and then there is data, Rajdeep. So you can torture data and ask it to say anything that you want it to say. But the simple fact is that every opinion poll of India today in the past 3 years has flagged unemployment at the top of the list. Mm-hmm. What is the reason why every political party in every state is offering some kind of welfare measure, freebies, revetie, whatever the opposition or the ruling front wants to call it? The fact is that even in Delhi and the extension of the free food program, the extension of the Ujjwala program, the extent of welfare shows that there is some distress at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, this month we heard on February 29 that the GDP grew by 7.6%. It's indisputable that the GDP grew by 7.6%. That is visible in the data on government spending, on tax collections, on GST collection, and on the performance of PSUs and the stock indices. At the same time, there is a difference. I mean, Joan Robinson used to say that everything that you say about India, the opposite is equally true. And so when you go to the data, you find that private consumption is at 3%. Two of the largest employers in the country, agriculture and services, are not doing well. I mean, agriculture contracted and now might close the year at sub 1%. Services double-digit growth has become single-digit. Now, there is a geopolitical context to it. There is what's happening in the US in IRA, what's happening in technology adoption. Go to campus placements. You go to any management institute or any engineering institute, and you know the story that unemployment or options are exempt. Now, I am glad that the Congress has a firm grasp of the obvious, and they have come out with some idea, which is progress. But I must say that the idea is long on promise and short on details. As you said at the beginning of the program, the Congress has a history of coming up with nice, interesting ideas. In 2019, they had an idea of giving 1/3 government jobs to women. How many of their states implemented it? They had 5 states where they were in power. Did they implement it? No. You look at government jobs, they're saying that they will fill government jobs. They've been in power in Karnataka for about 6-7 months. What is the level of constabulary vacant posts and teacher vacant posts in the state of Karnataka? In Himachal Pradesh, what is the level of vacant posts for teachers? And in Himachal Pradesh, mind you, is a better run state. So the question is that how do you resolve this? And is the apprenticeship only with government? Is the apprenticeship a public-private partnership? How are you going to fund that apprenticeship program? What is the math? Do we know how many graduates we produce in this country? We know that people are enrolled. If you go and ask the UGC, you will not get a figure on how many graduates pass out. If you go and find out how many diploma holders pass out, you may not find the figure. So this promise is now between data and data.
Okay, so you're saying that they need to provide details. JB Mathur, you just heard Shankar Iyer there saying, he makes 2 strong points. One is, you've got to walk the talk in states where you're in power. Karnataka is a good example where number of government jobs still remain unfilled. He also raises the issue of the detailing. When you say we will provide a right to apprenticeship to those graduates who are not getting employment, how are you going to do it? When you say that you're going to provide social security benefits to all gig economy workers, people will raise, where are you going to fund? How are you going to fund that? These are the details that you need. You've come up with an announcement. Where are the details?
Congress has made it already very clear that the details will be laid out in the Congress manifesto soon. What we have launched today is the idea and the basic plan of projects which we would be doing when we come to power, and that's a crisp idea. But the details will come in the manifesto in the coming days. Now, as far as at least the point to be looked is what happened to 2 lakh crore of jobs promised by Prime Minister very openly 10 years back. It should have been the kind of jobs generated would have been so huge, but that did not happen. When an election is coming, a Lok Sabha election is coming, what did the incumbent government did in the past 5 years, or in this case, past the 10 years? No, they do not even fill up the vacancies in government posts. And when we have come up with a plan, we have clear plans. And if you look at the UPA, we have implemented. We have shown. Now that why are they so reluctant to answer?
Okay, one of the points on which they are...
Rajdeep, 1 second.
Yes.
Let me just complete. Now the BJP spokesperson, he was saying, oh, the cabinet has cleared the AI scheme. I mean, what do you mean? You had 10 years and at the eve of election, something is cleared, and that's what he is saying it as a big credit. Now, secondly, the mood of the nation of your channel, India Today itself, what did it say? What did it say, and what did it reflect on employment? Did your mood of the nation say that this will be one of the biggest issues?
No, it did. No, ma'am, JB Mathur, the India Today Mood of the Nation poll said 71% of Indians think that unemployment is a serious or somewhat serious issue. Yet,
exactly.
Many of those people said they will vote for the BJP. You see, this is the dilemma. They don't seem to trust you that you will be able to resolve the problem. You're going to have to provide more details, ma'am.
We will be providing the details in the days to come in the Congress manifesto. But what I wish to say is we have a plan, and the country should trust us for something like Manrega, which is still continues to be the rural hunger stopper for the poor.
Okay, so I will
we
take
have
that.
done it. We have proved it.
Okay, you can claim Manrega is a success according to you in terms of having in many distressful times aided people, especially in rural India. But Tuhin Sinha, government jobs, vacancies have not been filled in for years. therefore, now on the eve of the election, to suddenly say, look, we can resolve you haven't resolved issues for 9.5 years, even with government jobs. Vacancies in government jobs is a major issue.
Rajdeep, with some of these government jobs, one needs to look at the long-term economic viability because, like I mentioned, the nature of jobs are changing, and some of these need to be at the contractual mode. So that is one of the reasons why all of these have not been filled. But at the same time, in the last few months, 8 lakh people have been provided employment through the Rojgar Melas, through the multiple Rojgar Melas that have taken place across the country.
No, but that's because the government woke up to the reality a year ago. You see, you've been in power for 10 years.
We have always been, allow me to complete, we have always been abreast of the reality in the last 10 years. The total number of unicorns has gone up to 113, the valuation of which is $350 billion plus. How did it happen? Because of 10,000 Atal incubation centers playing a very crucial catalyzing role, which the Congress obviously seems to be completely ignorant of. Now, when it comes to Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, 1.4 crore people have been skilled, and all of these have led to increased entrepreneurship. So, and I'm so glad that for the first time you pointed out about Rajasthan. When Congress makes all these tall promises, the biggest unemployment rate was in Rajasthan. Where have the biggest exam paper leaks taken place? Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. Where has the biggest Manrega scam taken place in recent years? Again, it is Jharkhand, one of the cases which ED is investigating against the JMM Congress government. So, before talking big, I think the Congress needs to realize its own track record. And one of the reasons why their promises don't hold is that they have a very poor deliverance, or probably people feel cheated by the Congress.
Can I just get Shankar Iyer Shankar Iyer, do you believe, therefore, that when a poll that we carried out said 71% believe that unemployment is serious or somewhat serious, does that translate into a poll pitch? Or is election and electoral behavior, in your view, disconnected from the real issues like Rojgar?
Well, the incentive process of policy and votes, I don't think they're aligned. If they were, you wouldn't have things that are happening in Bihar or Jharkhand. Or you wouldn't be seeing 48 lakh people applying for 60,000 jobs. So obviously that's not the case. But the other aspect, Rajdeep, that one must pay attention to is first-time voters in the past 3 elections have chosen to be rebellious of the establishment. Mm-hmm. And it is the general history of Indian elections that elections are made or parties win power or lose power on 2 aspects: basic freedoms and corruption. But the underlying process is driven by those who suffer the burden, which is the women and the youth. So some amount of work has happened in empowering women or giving some solace, but the youth factor is still a question mark. The issue that the Congress faces is it might have the best ideas, but do the people trust it to implement it? Do the people think that it will come to power to do it? Because the chaos of 2013, 2014, 2012 is not easily forgotten by people. Okay. So there is an issue of trust deficit here. And if you see in 2014 and 2019, the youth has clearly voted with the BJP. So the Congress has a really uphill task to establish the credibility of its idea.
Okay, let's leave it there. At least it's an idea. At least the Congress has thrown up something which is worthy of a deeper debate. And surely in this year of 2024, one would want more debates on critical issues like paper leaks, like who will provide quality jobs to the youth of this country. JB Mathur, Tuhin Sinha, Shankar Iyer, thank you very much for joining me on my top talking point tonight.